favorites, your Netflix US Top 10 for the week. So this week, coming in at number 10 has been pretty much a mainstay for several months now, which I think speaks to how many adults have children watching Netflix. I've spoken to a lot of parents of young kids out there, and each and every single one of them is familiar with the show. So coming in at number 10, holding strong in the Netflix US Top 10 is Coco Melon. Coming in at number 9 is a brand new appearance to the top 10, Startup. Coming in at number 8 was also featured last week. It's holding pretty strong in the latter part of the top 10. Super cute movie, Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. Coming in at number 7, Monster. Coming in at number 6 was a couple weeks ago's number 1 and number 2, super popular with AfterBuzz TV fans and people all over Twitter. Coming in at number 6 is Shadowbone. I definitely want to check that out. It looks really cool. Coming in at number 5 is another brand new appearance in this week's in the top 10, Selena the series. Coming in at number 4 is Dead Man Down. Coming in at number 3 also looks really cool. I really do want to watch this. I'm very fascinated by serial killer documentaries and forensic files and stuff like that. Coming in at number 3 is Son of Sam, A Descent into Darkness. Bum, bum, bum. Coming in at number 2 was last week's number 1 in the top 10, The Mitchells versus the Machines. And coming in at number 1, it makes its brand new, first time ever appearance. It is a brand new Netflix series, brand new for 2021, coming in with 1 season and 8 episodes, which is very typical of Netflix's sort of binge platform and their formula. Coming in at number 1 is Jupiter's Legacy, starring Josh Duhamel, Ben Daniels, Leslie Bibb, and a lot of others. The show chronicles what happens when first-generation superheroes prepare and actually do pass the torch to their children. We're going to see a lot of expectations versus pressure, where tension starts to rise and build up, and all of a sudden the old rules no longer apply. So is it going to be anarchy? What are the kids going to be feeling? Are they going to measure up to the expectations of superhero parents? Are they going to get the job done against their counterparts, the supervillains and the next generation supervillains? Find out in the first season, 8 episodes of Jupiter's Legacy. Bum, bum, bum. Definitely want to check that out too. Now is time for some of my recommendations for this week. We're going to start off with my Netflix recommendations and move right along to my HBO Max recommendations. My first recommendation for Netflix is a really cool movie that combines somewhat dark, cheesy humor with some sort of apocalyptic vibe meets zombies and survival guide. My first recommendation, a super cool movie. I love both of them, so I'm recommending the first one, which is on Netflix, Zombieland. My second recommendation is for, adults that are very much Disney oriented like myself, or parents that have kids. This is a highly underrated movie that I actually really enjoyed. My second recommendation is The Princess and the Frog. Love it. Love that Louisiana vibe and the bayou and the music and the voodoo and the magic and all the life lessons in it. It's a really good movie. My third recommendation is a very binge-worthy show. I loved it when I first saw it, I think 2 years ago, and they have quite a few seasons. What I love about it is it's so different in comparison to what you would expect out of binge-worthy television. So for me, I just thought it was so cool, very creative, very well done, very fun story to follow. It has your ups and downs and twists and turns and corkscrews, just like an entertaining show should. So it's very much has a macabre sort of sense of humor, mixed with how people date in today's world, mixed with how you're struggling to be a young professional out in the working world, and how to fight crime as a vigilante, and all these other really cool things. So my third recommendation is iZombie. Check it out and definitely share your thoughts with me. A really, really cool show. My fourth recommendation stars one of my favorite female actresses. I love her to death, Winona Ryder. This show is critically acclaimed. It won numerous awards over the years. Stranger Things. My fifth recommendation is a really fun throwback to my childhood. All my fans and adults out there, whether you have children or not, I recommend it. It's just a really fun throwback, featuring a bunch of dinosaur, youngins, little babies who get separated from their families and have to go out into the world and they end up going on this life-changing journey to get back to their families and survive in the wild. So my next recommendation, my fifth one in this recommendation recommendation segment is The Land Before Time. Who doesn't love Ducky? I love that movie so much. And my last recommendation is a series. I think it has 3 or 4 seasons. What I liked about this was it was a really fun twist on Hannibal Lecter, Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs meets CSI meets like Sherlock Holmes or The Good Doctor sort of thing. So you have the main character who has, you know, different mental capacities and facets and capabilities. And he ends up helping the FBI solve crimes and find serial killers. And one of the stipulations is he has to go to therapy, but the person being his therapist is trying to pretend to be his friend as well. And that ends up being Hannibal Lecter. And Hannibal Lecter actually manipulates the main character into potentially becoming a serial killer himself, while he essentially puts himself in the shoes and looks through the eyes of other serial killers to help the FBI catch criminals. And so it's a very interesting series with a really different take, starring Hugh Dancy. My last recommendation, the 6th one this week, is Hannibal. See it on Netflix and let me know your thoughts. I like watching very different sort of binge-worthy TV. My HBO Max recommendations for the week, since I finally have the app, I have 5 of them for you. My first recommendation for HBO Max is really fun. It's another really cool throwback to my childhood. I grew up with a lot of older stuff. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The original Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? I love that show. So it has the first couple seasons of that. I think it's really fun and a super cool throwback that actually still holds up. It's super fun. Definitely have your kids check it out. My second recommendation is also a binge-worthy TV show that's still talked about today, even though it's been gone for years. My second recommendation for HBO Max this week is Friends. Super fun, you know, just slapstick funny show, basically. Super fun. My next recommendation, my third one this week out of the 4, is a trilogy. So movies that I am obsessed with, and I'm a huge fan of the books. Lord of the Rings. HBO Max has Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Super huge fan of those. Anybody that's a diehard Taylor fan knows I'm like obsessed with Lord of the Rings. So I know it was most recently May 4th and 5th, you know, May the 4th be with you and Revenge of the 5th, but I just gotta throw Lord of the Rings out there. And my last recommendation for HBO Max this week, since I'm a huge horror fan, especially with like the occult and supernatural stuff, since I grew up in a haunted house, is Annabelle Creation. I really liked this movie a lot. I liked its throwback to like a sort of World War II era, and how they actually made dolls back in the day, and I just thought it was really well done. I actually liked it much more than the other Annabelle. So I really liked what they did with this one with providing her origin story, and I thought it was just very fun. So I know that's really weird to describe a horror movie, but I genuinely liked it and I had a really fun time watching it. So Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Annabelle Creation, Friends, and the Lord of the Rings trilogy rounds out my recommendations on the HBO Max app for this week.